Hello everyone, and welcome to a lovely Sunday afternoon, morning, whatever it happens to be for you in your part of the world. My name is, of course, ELH, your illustrious game master, mind flayer, and black hole enthusiast. And today, in lieu of Canis Major, we will be playing more Vampire Therapist. And I'm really excited to return to this game. From my understanding, we are about 2 more major meetings for each character before we reach the end of the game. So we are over the halfway mark at this point. And really, what I'm interested in seeing is how all of these different characters end up resolving their issues. Because in game, we're told that there's a month between each session, and if I know what I've seen correctly, each patient that we treat has 4 meetings, or at least 4. They might have more, but I've seen the number 4 being tossed around as the number of meetings with the patients. So we will get started here in a moment. All right, and what I've done is I've already gone ahead and loaded up where we left off last time. Nothing much has really changed as far as I can tell, but they did push a patch, I believe it was yesterday, that supposedly fixed a lot of bugs. And one bug that I actually appreciate is the fact that now that the game is in windowed mode, the audio doesn't randomly cut out sometimes, which was kind of an issue in past recordings, but hopefully it won't be an issue in this one. But let's resume. If you're just joining us or you need a recap, what I will tell you is we just finished our second session with Medi. Medi was, of course, the streaming vampire of Dami Mommy, as we know her as, and she was going to try and take a day off. But after that, we did a therapy session of Sam, and now we have to deal with Dr. Drayne and Lord Luris, I believe was his name. So let's see what happens. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to do a channel point prediction real quick. Let me do a channel point prediction real quick of how quickly Sam's going to pull a gun on Dr. Drayne. So let me see. All right. Will Sam pull a gun on Drayne? Question mark. All right, I'm gonna give you all like 2 minutes to get that in, but yeah, we're gonna do a channel point prediction to see if Sam pulls the gun on Drayne again, because that was a big moment. They were like, "Oh God, really? Okay, all right, I believe you." All right. Yeah, I think Mr. Hyde, if Mr. Hyde shows up, I think it's going to be definitely a gun pulling event, I think. All right. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, you got any drinker's blood?
I know you are joking. You will not dilute your blood before a session.
Yeah, I know, you're right. I just don't know who I'm meeting tonight. Is it gonna be Dr. Drayne or that Lord Luris fella?
You only met a single individual last time, and you will meet only a single individual this time. Do not let Dr. Drayne's avoidance of accountability confuse you.
You saw the guy, though. Lord Luris ain't nothing like Dr. Drayne.
I mean, this is true. Literally, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
And why do you think that is, Samuel?
Lord Luris is a demon or something. Huh. I mean, I have to click it because I want to see what Andy's response is going to be.
I don't know. I guess Lord Luris is some kind of demon, like in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay, so we are actually going to bring up what he's based on. Okay, good job.
No, Samuel. I have walked this earth for 3,000 years, and I am confident that demonic possession is not a thing. Think again. Why would Dr. Drayne's alter ego be so objectionable?
Well, I mean, both of these are true, but I think the true answer is it's easier for Dr. Drayne to blame Luris is the correct answer.
Well, maybe it's easier for Dr. Drayne to blame Lord Luris.
Correct, Samuel. A mild change in personality would be within Dr. Drayne's control. Luris is not, and therefore, Dr. Drayne relinquishes control. Prepare yourself, my friend. Let us find the darkness that lives within Dr. Drayne.
Okay, so we're gonna disqualify. They fixed the audio bug where this was like super bass boosted. Yay, they fixed it. All right, well, we're gonna take disqualifying the positive because he does that a lot. I think we're gonna take always right. And then, yeah, I'm thinking control, because control fallacy is a classic with Dr. Drayne. And then what is the fourth one? Do we go with NOS thinking, or do we go with labeling? Probably NOS thinking is what I would say. Because he definitely does a fair amount of labeling, but he also does a fair amount of Nosferatu thinking. Why don't we try taking... Yeah, I was going to say the Lord Luridus definitely did a lot more labeling. So let's take labeling, because we don't know who we're meeting tonight. Yeah, let's try labeling in the hopes that it's Dr. Drayne that we're meeting. Or, you know what I mean. Alright, let's see what happens.
Alright, I think I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Which, by the way, if you are going to play this game and you care about achievements... There's actually an achievement for you to only ever use the original 5 cognitive distortions. So if you are an achievement hunter, you can get an achievement by always using just the regular 5 that you start with.
Do not fear, Samuel. I shall not let Dr. Drayne hurt you, no matter what he is calling himself. Do what you do best.
I will, I promise. And here he comes, whoever he is today. Doc?
Somewhat taciturn today, then. Well, don't be upset with me. I did warn you about that beast. At least now you recognize the urgency in being rid of him.
Also, Grey Matter, hello, welcome on in.
Perhaps now we can stop beating about the bush and actually fix my addiction problem.
But it's not an addiction problem, Drayne. It's a psychological problem.
I'm here to help, but if we're gonna lick this thing, we gotta do it honestly. And that means getting to the root of the problem.
I tire of this self-examination process. There must be something efficacious that I can do. Perhaps some sort of aversion therapy.
Evil Intent, welcome on in as well.
I am willing to do whatever it takes to make that villain just go away.
See, that's the thing, Drayne, is you can't just make them go away. There's no way you're going to be able to just do one thing and make Lord Luridus go away.
Then you gotta be willing to address the big old elephant in the room.
And what is that?
Lord Luridus is kinda hot. Okay, hold on. We're gonna save. And we're gonna click Lord Luridus is kinda hot. Because I want to see what Drayne says.
I hate to say it, but Lord Luridus is kinda hot, ain't he?
I've never seen the man, and I fail to see what relevance his physical appearance has to my problem.
Well, I just thought you should know.
I could perform an MRI on you, you know. Perhaps rigor mortis has hit your brain.
Actually, it was something else I was gonna mention.
I kind of wish they'd gone a little bit farther, but that was still pretty good. Alright, but yeah, the correct answer is you're the same person.
You and Lord Luridus ain't two different people. You keep talking about him like he's someone else, but you both got the same brain in there.
Complete and utter nonsense. You've met him. We share absolutely nothing in common. And what's more, I am fully aware that he hates me. Take a look at this note he left on my desk.
That's supposed to be you there with the micro penis?
Oh, God. Wrong time to take a drink. Okay, I can breathe again. We're good. Can you imagine that, you're minding your own business, you wake up from your coffin, and you find this kind of drawing just waiting for you? Just beautifully done. Just chef's kiss. This is amazing.
Indeed. Juvenile humor, to be sure. Certainly nothing I would produce.
I don't know, Drayne. You did produce this.
Ain't he got the same penis, though?
Sam, that's a statement. but you're also true.
Quite so. I have no doubt he does the most terrible things with it.
So somehow he's got a different brain than you do, but the same penis. Something ain't adding up here, Doc.
That might be our first sentence of today. So somehow he's got a different brain, but the same dick. Yep, that's our first sentence for today. It has literally been 5 minutes since we started. So, you know.
I resent what you are suggesting. I have no effect on what Lord Luridus does.
Ain't you giving Lord Luridus your permission to come in and do what he does when you take that plasma stuff?
I didn't invite him in the first time. I had no idea what I had created. That his presence would become an addiction was not known to me.
Dr. Drayne, you're a scientist. Your stock and trade is in facts, ain't it? Let's leave thought out of this for now. You gotta be my scientist here and stick to what we know.
Very well. Yes. The genesis of Lord Luridus was in the actions and choices I took. Are you quite satisfied?
It's progress.
Doc, we ain't here for my satisfaction. Do you really think that?
Well, the fact that I am upset right now certainly lends credence to the idea that you are trying to shame me.
I'm not trying to shame you, though.
I won't lie to you, Doc. The people that Lord Luridus has hurt probably would have a bone to pick with you. But I ain't here to punish nobody. Well, that ain't the way to help you. In this room, we're working together. You're doing the hard work, and I'm just giving you support. Catch my drift, partner?
And so you do me even greater shame through kindness. I cannot win. Perhaps I should simply let that beast, Lord Luridus, have his way with me.
Phrasing, but also should statement.
Come on now, Doc. You're jumping right to doom there. There are so many ways this therapy thing could go for you. It ain't we destroy Lord Luridus or Lord Luridus wins. Jumping right to catastrophe just ain't realistic. Already you're fighting him by being here. That means there's definitely something in the middle. And working together, we'll make things better. Maybe not completely better. This work ain't never done.
Of course, I am forgetting myself. I am not usually prone to extremes. I shall attempt to be more mindful.
I ain't expecting you to be perfect, Doc. And I don't want you to expect perfection from yourself either. What I'm asking you for is self-compassion.
And that is actually something very, very important to say, because a lot of times when you make people self-reflect, they forget to actually have self-compassion for themselves. And that's something that took me a while to learn when I went through this process.
That ain't erasing blame. It's just approaching yourself from a place of understanding. That's a scientific method, ain't it?
I doubt many in the scientific community would agree with such a statement, but I believe I understand the thrust of it. We cannot address facts if we mask them in emotionality.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly it, Doc. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Indeed. Thus my attempt to synthesize the thought properly.
Well, thank the dark powers that made us. Someone in here's the smart one.
Very well. We shall take a strategic, scientifically sound approach. We will agree upon facts, develop hypotheses, test and validate. If I rely on the science, I will never be wrong.
That's always right.
Hold on a sec. Before we jump in, Doc, I gotta challenge you. Even science ain't gonna make it certain you're always right. The answers science gives you might not be the answers that are best for you. I just want you to keep your mind open, all right?
My mind is always open. I'm a scientist.
I'm just gonna reflect that back to you and see if you think that's true. You're saying being a scientist means your mind is always, without fail, open.
Well, I suppose that sounds a bit ridiculous. Very well. I shall endeavor to ensure that my thinking is flexible.
Well, sounds good to me, compadre. Let's start assembling them facts. Can I ask you some questions then?
You may. Let us begin.
Alright, so you told me that the thing that makes your plasma addicting is how good it makes you feel when you wake up from it.
Sure, Luffy. Hello, welcome on in.
From your scientific perspective, what makes it feel good?
From a chemical perspective, good feelings, or positive emotions, are the result of neurotransmitter action. Considering the specific emotions felt in the immediate moment are contentment and satisfaction, it is certain that I am experiencing an oxytocin and dopamine release. It is a primal limbic response. In laboratory settings, we observe a constant drive in animals towards stimulating the release of amygdala-receptive neurotransmitters.
In other words, and Sam is probably going to make him lower that down, a bit in the scientific saying, but basically what Drayne is saying is laboratory animals try to activate their pleasure centers a lot. In fact, I actually think, if I remember correctly, there was a study, I don't remember if it was done in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, but they basically wired an electrode to a mouse's brain or a rat's brain, and every time they pushed a button, the rat would receive a jolt of pleasure. And it was an interesting study because, again, if I'm remembering it correctly, the rats that were in a very plain cage with no stimulation would constantly hit the button. But if you put the same rat in a cage with things to do with other rats, it would still hit the button, but it wouldn't hit it nearly as often. So basically what Drayne is saying here is that he's recognizing that the hit of dopamine, the hit of oxytocin, or I think that's how it's said, he's recognizing that that's what Lord Lourdes is to him.
I think you're gonna need to boil that down for me, Doc.
I did not come here to teach, but so be it. Ask your questions.
Yeah, let's talk about our limbic system first.
Well, what's the limbic system do?
And yeah, Dr. Drayne definitely needs to get out more. Like, he needs to admit to himself that he has to have fun. And yeah, Caspian, that's pretty much what happens is the rats that were unstimulated, they just hit the button until they perished, unfortunately. But again, if I'm remembering the same study, they did the same sort of study with humans, and they didn't get nearly as distinguishing results. Again, if I'm remembering correctly. But there was one outlier where one guy was like hitting the button like 600 times or like once every 7 seconds. And I'm going to have to find the study and save it for next time, because I just read that and I'm like, really? One guy hit it 600 times and he's an outlier? Interesting.
The limbic system functions as the emotional center of the brain, responsible for emotional responses such as joy, fear, and anger.
Also, Kern, hello, welcome on in. You've missed a few sentences, Kern, but I have a feeling we're going to get a lot more sentences out of Drayne here shortly.
So it's like the part of my brain deciding if I should be scared of a rattlesnake or happy about a belly full of blood?
Precisely. It plays a crucial role in forming memories and making decisions based on emotional experiences. Often called the lizard brain, it's evolutionarily one of the older parts of the brain, indicating its fundamental role in regulating survival instincts.
I've been called lizard brain before, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a compliment.
All right, and of course we're going to just go through the list here.
What's this about neurotransmitters?
Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that neurons use to communicate with each other.
And yeah, Caspian, that's how it works, is the reason why addicting drugs are so addicting. And this might be a bit of a heavier subject, but I'll try to keep it as light as possible. When it comes to an addiction, you start off feeling really great, or you like the feeling that you get. But every single time you indulge the addiction, it's not as great as the original sort of feeling that you had. So you end up chasing that feeling, and you have to up the dosage, you have to, up whatever it is you're doing, and that's how you get the self-spiral of defeat. And again, as someone who's been through that cycle, I can tell you that the allure of the next hit can be very, very hard to defeat. So I very much empathize with what Drayne's going through here, but like I said, I'm very interested to see how Drayne handles his addiction.
For example, social bonding reliably triggers a release of oxytocin, creating a sense of security and attachment.
So if I'm reading you right, when I'm feeling all snug after a good feed, is them oxytocin neurotransmitters doing their thing?
Exactly. This process is an integral part of our brain's reward system, encouraging behaviors that are perceived as beneficial for our survival and well-being.
So survival feels good, basically.
Yes, though I would not publish such a statement in an academic paper.
All right, well, only thing left to us.
So what's all this stuff really mean in the end, Doc? Why's this neurotransmitter stuff even matter?
An intriguing question. Naturally, emotion does not have a practical evolutionary application on its own. However, these emotions signal to the reptilian brain whether or not we are under threat.
Oh, well, dang, now I think we're getting somewhere. I think the answer's right in front of us.
Oh? And what is it that your rooting, tooting brain can synthesize that mine cannot?
He needs to live in the woods. Oh. So he definitely needs a psychiatrist, but I think the answer here is Lord Lourdes feels safer than Dr. Drayne. I think that's the answer here.
You don't feel safe on your own. Taking that plasma forces you to get that neurotransmitter hit.
An intriguing theory. However, evidence stands against it. Like it or not, I am a vampire. The only thing that may threaten me is the sun or a more powerful vampire. I should not be experiencing feelings of mortal danger. I am not immortal. Logically, I should know such a thing is ridiculous.
Again, should.
There's them should statements again, Doc. It doesn't matter what logic says. You still got that part of your brain that says it's in danger, and that part doesn't care about logic.
An astute point, and an inconvenient one. That we should be saddled with such vestigial primal concerns is most unfortunate.
Can't avoid the fact that we still got them human concerns. At least we don't gotta poop, huh?
Oh dear, and you are doing so well. At least I have nothing to fear from you.
Hey, Drayne, I know you're going through a lot of shit, but isn't it great that we don't have to shit? Isn't that a good thing? Never change, Sam. Never change.
It's true, though. We're still animals, partner. We gotta satisfy the animal. Just not through pooping.
Oh my god. Alright, there's another sentence. We gotta satisfy the animal, just not through pooping. Good job, Sam.
But we are immortal. Why do we have animal needs, fears, and emotions? What possible use do they have?
So it's not should. I don't think it's disqualifying the positive. I think this is labeling because he's calling them animal. And he's also using immortal. So let's try labeling first.
Poor Dr. Drayne is diminishing the entire human, or rather animal experience in his pursuit of logical outcomes. Quite dogmatic for a scientist.
Oh, so it is disqualifying the positive then.
But we are immortal. Why do we have animal needs, fears, and emotions? What possible use do they have?
Well, now that I think about it, yeah, disqualifying the positive does fit that to a T.
Sometimes, Doc, you are just too smart for your own good. You're logicking away all the good things about being human.
Gotta learn to trust my gut more when it comes to these things.
I mean, let's say we freed ourselves from those biological concerns. Got rid of all them fears and insecurities and quirks. Why are we doing anything then? I don't know about you, Doc, but I don't want to turn into a computer. All them great discoveries and works of art came from our humanity.
Perhaps it is so. Do you know, I met Isaac Newton several times. The young fellow was motivated indeed, but it was his human vindictiveness that made him so effective. All those motherfuckers who called me a nerd are going to pay, mark my words, he would say. Or something along those lines.
Okay, hold up. I gotta pump the brakes for a second. So Isaac Newton. You know, Newton. Very important thing. Just Isaac Newton saying, all those motherfuckers who called me a nerd are gonna pay. Mark my words. I was not aware that Isaac Newton would even drop the MF bomb. Okay. Alright. We're learning things about Isaac Newton, apparently.
So, he was making sure none of those motherfuckers could hurt him.
That was certainly part of it. It was not just the love of science that drove the man. It is such a disappointing notion, however, to think that we cannot transcend our reptilian brain, even when we are beyond death.
We're dealing in facts, though, and I think what we're coming to is that your reptilian brain doesn't feel safe.
Which is absolutely ridiculous, but I must admit that it is somehow true.
Yeah, it is true, Evil Intent, that many times in an invention, a story, a game, came because somebody was very spiteful. And in fact, how do I want to say this? Spite can be a very powerful motivator to get you to do something. Like, for example, if someone says to me, hey, ELH, I don't think you're ever going to release your second book, I immediately say, well, fuck you, I'm going to go work on my book right now. What are you going to do about that? So it's one of those things where sometimes, even though spite is, technically a negative emotion, it can be a very powerful motivator so that you can be like, yes, I proved them wrong. I did what I wanted to, and it paid off. But I don't think we have that option here with Dr. Drayne. I don't think we're able to point that out.
Ugh, what a devastating revelation. Dr. Drayne, for all his scientific achievement, is just an emotional little laboratory rat who bases all his decisions in fear.
Well, that's labeling, buddy.
Man, you just jump right to that extreme. You're probably the smartest fella I ever met, Doc. You ain't a science god, but who is?
You'll have to remember that when you're talking about Book 3. Listen, I gotta get Book 2 out the door first before I can even think about Book 3.
I think there's a lot of room between being a lab rat and being the perfect logical being.
You are, of course, correct. I am letting my emotions get the better of me. Most unscientific.
Doc, I want to go back to one of them things I was telling you about in our first session, and that's self-compassion. Let's say you had some vampire apprentice, a scientist like you, who didn't know nothing like what you know, and said they were down on themselves for all the reasons you are. What would you say to them?
Well, I would explain that progress is non-linear. The scientific method, in fact, celebrates failure. That which does not conform to theory still informs theory.
Doctor, and see what Sam is doing here is he's using a cardboard, I don't know the actual name for it, but he's using a cardboard cutout to be like, well, if this was somebody else, how would you tell them about this? And it gets the person thinking, oh, well, I need to apply that to me. And no, Caspian, I am working on Book 2. I'm doing my best to work on it, but as much as spite is a very powerful motivator for me, I can only write so much at a time. There's a point where I'm like, okay, I've written 3,000 words today, and my brain is mush, so I guess I gotta stop writing.
Any chance you could put the scientist away and talk to their human side?
Well, I suppose I would say that it is fine, that all things are temporary, and the universe does not care to condemn them.
Okay, now Drayne, say that to yourself.
So how can we get you to say them things to yourself, Doc?
Mirroring. That's what it's called, Kern. Thank you. I knew it was something. Mirroring. That's what it's called, I think.
My situation is not the same. I was trained in the age of discovery. I bear the responsibility for that age. What if this project of mine, to create the blood that will sustain the world, is not what I am here for? Then what is my purpose?
Well, let me ask you. What's the purpose of a gopher?
Where are you going with this, Sam?
Rodentia, Geomedy. Rodents endemic to North America, known for their tunneling ability and as agricultural pests. I believe they are the prey of owls, snakes, and coyotes, and are omnivorous themselves, consuming vegetables, insects, and small mammals.
I wasn't expecting you to be so thorough. I don't think I knew half that stuff.
Nor did I, Sam.
I have come to learn nearly everything there is to know about mammalian biology as a result of my research. Please get to the point.
I think I forgot what it was now.
That is not encouraging.
Now, hold on a sec. I think I've got
it. He's gonna go for a win. Oh. So, I mean, the funny answer is to compare him to a gopher, but the real answer is gophers have a purpose here.
Gophers have a purpose. Driving people crazy, that's what. Used to wreak havoc on the farmland back in Missouri.
Absolutely ridiculous. That is not their purpose. It's an ill-informed anthropocentric philosophy defined and subscribed to entirely by said anthropocentrists.
I didn't know bugs could do that.
Anthropocentrists, not arthropods. Humans. Homo sapiens. I am saying that you have created a purpose for the gopher that the gopher is entirely unaware of.
So, who made your purpose, Dr. Drayne?
What? Well, I did, I suppose.
There you go, buddy. You're getting it.
So if you made it, you can change it, right?
But how can I change my purpose? I have always been a scientist. So that's what I am.
All right, Will. Let's take that scientific approach and try to figure out who the man behind the scientist is.
Very well. If we look at the behavior of our subject, myself, we can infer a few things. If we examine my behavior, one can draw comparison to a threatened higher-thinking mammal. I spend much time in ensuring personal safety and security.
What about your more peaceful moments? What do they look like?
I believe these feelings are only medically induced through my special plasma. However, Dr. Drayne appears to be at rest when he is full and satisfied.
And yeah, you're right, Caspian. I mean, you're an immortal vampire. You have all the time in the world to change yourself here, buddy.
And your synthetic blood doesn't do that for you.
I am forced to admit that at present, it does not.
Dr. Drayne, what do you think of drinking something a little more fresh and human?
I will not. I do not have to. That depraved vampire, Lord Luridus, is the source of all that is base and vulgar about my person.
So, it's not should. It's not always right. I don't think it's labeling. Yeah, I'm feeling disqualifying the positive, because Lord Lourdes does, as weird as it is to say, he does have some good aspects. Let's try disqualifying the positive first. Okay.
Once again, Dr. Drayne absolves himself of Lord Lourdes' actions. Does he not invite Lord Lourdes into his life?
So in that case, it's probably control fallacy.
I will not. I do not have to.
No, it's not
again,
control
Dr. Drayne
fallacy.
I will
Okay.
not. I do not have to. That
Hold
depraved
on.
vampire, Lord Luridus, is the source of all that is base and vulgar about my person.
Let me check always right then, because let me see. Hold on. Or I wish there was an easier way to flip through this, but it is what it is. All right. Where is? Did I miss it? I think I missed it. Yeah, I missed it. Yeah, he's passing on the blame, which. Where is? Am I just blind? There it is. Okay. Heat of the moment, we get so worked, we feel everything we say is correct. We double down on opinions or even reject opposition of the first thing. Disagreements have nuance. Oh. There it is. So, yeah, I think this is always right then. Though we might just end up going through all of them. So let's try always right, and if that's not right, it's a control fallacy. Yeah,
Once
it's a
again,
control
Doctor,
fallacy.
I will not.
Once
It's
again, Dr.
not
Drayne
a
absolves
control
himself of Lord
fallacy?
Lourdes' actions.
I will
What?
not. I do not have to. That depraved vampire, Lord Luridus, is the source of all that is base and vulgar about my person.
Hold on. We've tried the thing, so... Didn't we try labeling? I thought we tried labeling.
Hold your horses there, partner. Maybe Lord Lourdes ain't a refined gentleman, but calling him depraved is just like calling yourself depraved.
Oh, well, I guess that's now obvious in hindsight, but, you know, again, learning experience.
But I do not do the depraved things Lord Luridus does.
Well, that's because Lord Lourdes does the things because you specifically will not.
But you're starting from a position of disgust for the Lord Lourdes part of you. How are you going to reconcile what he is when you're labeling him?
But I don't wish to reconcile with him.
Well, you have to, that's the whole reason you're here.
Well, what if you indulge Lord Lourdes once in a while? Maybe you could keep him from coming out.
Do you not understand what I have been working toward for the last 400 years? I will finally be able to transcend this thing that I am. I shall be a parasite no more.
I mean, parasite, labeling.
Come on, Dr. Drayne, what you are ain't a parasite. Look what you've done with your time here.
Oh, forgive me for wanting to transcend the lifestyle of a female mosquito.
That is a sentence. Okay. It's not a lewd sentence, but it is indeed an interesting sentence. The lifestyle of a female mosquito. Throwing shade on mosquitoes.
Well, heck, maybe you wouldn't be so keen to transcend if you didn't call yourself them names. We all gotta consume to live, Bronco. Ain't no such thing as a perpetual life machine.
I believe you are trying to invoke the first law of thermodynamics.
Sure. Sure.
Refresh my memory.
Yeah, I think vampires would technically qualify as a parasite, Caspian. And yeah, from what I remember, yeah, it's just the female mosquitoes that suck blood. I think the males are, I don't want to say useless, but the males kind of do one thing. It's the obvious thing, so...
Energy cannot be destroyed or created in an isolated system. It can only be transformed.
Oh, yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Sam has no idea what he just said.
Well, it is a salient point, I must admit.
Dr. Drayne, we really got to talk about some kind of middle path here. Back home, we tried the whole abstinence thing a few times, and it didn't go too well. We tried to stop drinking, and that just made people only do bad drinking. We tried telling teenagers sex was evil, and that just made them want it even more while being ashamed of themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, chat, you're the ones that would know this better than I. I know, like, one or two things about mosquitoes. So I'm going to believe you, Caspian. If that's what the females use the blood for, sure. Sure. And yeah, I guess, Alex, you raise an interesting point. Are they really a parasite, or are they more of a predator? Yeah, you know what? I can see it. And yeah, what Sam is talking about here, the lure of the forbidden, or being told you can't do something, basically wants you want to do that thing anyway. There's a term for it, but telling someone they can't do something, well, it kind of reverses back around to what I was saying about spite. If you tell someone, well, you can't do that, it makes you think, well, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway. Also, welcome being Goblin, welcome on in.
What if you just tried to do some of them things Lord Luridus does? Just don't do them the way he does.
I find the idea utterly repellent.
Yeah, but then you go and take that plasma, and Lord Luridus makes the decisions. We don't want that, right?
Fine. I'll drink some blood.
There you go, buddy.
But I warn you, Sam, the price of failure is most dear. If I should lose my humanity, all of humanity will lose.
So... this is either, at least, let me see. So it's either a should statement or it's a control fallacy. I think this is... we'll try control fallacy first, and then we'll try should.
Doc, you really can't be putting the weight of the world on your shoulders. That ain't something you can control, compadre. Now, I know you're a capable fella, but the world is gonna turn with or without you.
You think so? I can't imagine someone with my highly rational mind feeling so strongly if my prediction weren't firmly rooted in fact.
I know it all seems real heavy right now. Just show yourself a little compassion and patience. Beating yourself up over a future that ain't happened yet isn't gonna help you. We need to go back to this thing I brought up before. You're a smart fella, Dr. Drayne, but sometimes you're forgetting vampire commonality. We've all felt like the world was ending, or that we're awful monsters. But them feelings are our perceptions alone.
Yes, I'm aware. Perhaps I've been a little too human in my foibles. However, you forget my training in history. I am not an average vampire. I was trained by the great Professor William Harvey.
Bill Harvey.
I have had 4 centuries to unlock the secrets of animal biology. I have a duty to humanity and to my own legacy. A duty I should not fail in. Otherwise, what was it all for?
Now that is a should statement.
Hold your horses there, amigo. You say you've got a duty to humanity? Well, that ain't scientific at all. It ain't just anthropocentric, it's Dr. Drayne-centric. Nobody said you had to do anything. Remember when we first started talking, I told you about them should statements? That's what you're doing, compadre. Just remember that them shoulds are yours.
Yes, I must be frustrating to you, Sam. I invoke the same delusions over and over again.
Hey, come on, Doc. You should be proud of yourself. You know what the difference is between you and vampires who never improve themselves?
Oh, see? Okay. So... he's here. Like, you're here getting therapy. That means he's willing to work it himself. Like, that's the appealing to his ego. This is kind of a backhanded statement. So I'm going to go with he's here.
You're here. You've made a commitment to getting your head on straight. And you're getting there, my friend. Already you're making some big changes and investing in yourself. I can see it. So let's cut Dr. Drayne a break. How about it, amigo? He doesn't need the weight of the world on him. There's only one thing he should do, and that's have a little understanding and empathy for himself. You get me?
Yes, I get you. Very well. I shall try to keep a clear head. And I will arrange to drink some real blood. There's plenty of it in the lab. I shall just liberate some of it.
Good man. We'll talk about how it's gone next month, all right?
Indeed. Until then, Sam, and thank you for your patience.
I ain't got nothing but time, amigo. You can thank me by being patient with yourself.
All the same, you have my thanks. I shall see you in a few weeks then. Farewell.
Well done indeed, Samuel. I think we are starting to see a new version of the good doctor in the making.
Yeah, like the fact that Drayne originally came to us and he was like, I don't need to be here. I don't want to listen to you. And now he's like, you know what? Thank you for being patient. And I think we're making good strides with Dr. Drayne. I'm very interested to see who shows up next time with Drayne. Because if I understand where they're going to go with this, the fourth session with Dr. Drayne is probably going to be Lord Lourdes again, if I had to take a guess.
I hope you're right, boss. That fella's awful hard on himself.
That is normal, my friend. Being a vampire takes a lot of self-acceptance. He is only taking his first steps in discovering this.
Yeah, fair enough. It took other people forgiving me for me to forgive myself.
And now you pass on this gift of compassion to Dr. Drayne. Now, Samuel, the evening is still young. See what the night has to offer downstairs.
That sounds good, Andy.
Caspian, like my doctor said after I paid my bill, thank you for being a patient. No, that's the wrong kind of No.
Rest in peace, my friend.
Oh, would you look at that? The curtain has been fixed as well. Good job, developer. Because before the curtain would lag, but they fixed it. Well done.
I always come out of the doc sessions feeling dumber than ever.
Do you, Sam? That feels like a statement that we should say about ourselves. That feels like disqualifying the positive, Sam.
I'll check in with Crimson. She's always got some bartender's wisdom to share. Howdy, Crimson. Looks like a nice crowd tonight.
Bark, bark, bark.
They're always a nice crowd, cowboy. We like to maintain an asshole-free zone.
I'll try not to be an asshole then.
I'm not worried about you, cowboy. You had a session tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, with the doctor fella. We had a hard talk about what being a vampire means. He's having a hard time coming to terms with it, even after 400 years.
I can understand that. I've stopped aging for the last 20 years and don't know how I feel about it yet.
Okay, so we've learned that she got blood partnered at the age of 30.
How do you think it went with him?
You know what? It went very well.
I think we're finally getting somewhere, actually. It's funny, a lot of vampires forget they're human, but he keeps forgetting he's a vampire. But just like we can't opt out of being human, we can't opt out of being vampires either.
Must have been a hard talk, cowboy. I sometimes wonder what I am. Staying the same age, drinking Andy's blood to live. Don't get me wrong, I like not being dead, but I still feel like I'm living on borrowed time.
Is this a good time to ask why you don't just join the dark side? It ain't that bad being dead.
I'm just not sure what I'd do with forever, you know? Eternity's a long time.
Yeah, I think a lot of us vampires can't answer that question either. And I don't think there's one answer anyway.
Definitely not.
There you go. So I guess I'll keep putting off the question.
But nobody's rushing you, Crimson.
That's a huge decision to make.
You think I'd let anyone? But thanks for listening, cowboy. Now why don't you go mingle?
So I think Panoptibella's going to show up tonight.
There's a new fella in the kink room who's very interested to meet you.
Never mind, somebody new.
I guess I'll go be social then. Thanks, Crimson.
See, if it were me, like, the only reason I don't want to be immortal is because, and again, heavy subject, I'll be very light. I've got some things going on that unless immortality fixed them, I don't want to live with that for forever. So it really just depends on how immortality works in that regard. So for me, I'm fine with being mortal. But I know some people have the, like, they really, really want to be immortal. But for anybody who's had chronic pain, or anybody who's had, a lifelong disease or symptom, immortality seems definitely like a curse. So I'll stay mortal, thank you very much.
Wait a sec, that ain't...
Okay, hold on, pump the brakes. Did this guy get lost from a Kiss concert? Did this guy... Okay, so I'm just processing what I'm looking at here. He's got the Kiss makeup. He's got a little cross on his head. And he's also wearing the priest collar, whose name, I don't remember what the name of the collar is. Okay, this guy's a thing.
Greetings, my child.
He's Matthew Mercer! If I heard correctly, that's Matthew Mercer!
Keep your distance, amigo. I know our kind ain't had good history, but I ain't in the mood for an exorcism or nothing.
My child of the dark. If I were to exorcise you, nothing would be left when I was done.
Yep, that's Mercer. That's Matthew Mercer. Hi, Mercer. Hi! I like Matthew Mercer.
Only the good Lord is free of sin. We are all children of darkness.
Holy smokes, what Bible have you been reading?
I know my scripture, my son. However, I am by scripture and dark metal ordained, not by any church of man.
I am by scripture and dark metal ordained. Well, at least that explains his makeup.
So, you're some kind of freelance priest?
Yes, I suppose I am. It is the only way I can give succor to those who need it most.
So, Syrian, or Syrian, however you say it, is this something where, like, you show up with the guitar and just do awesome metal riffs for your sermon, and then, people are jamming out to it, throwing the horns, and then you whip out and now we shall turn to Genesis line 3, okay. I don't know how freelance priest works in this context, but okay.
So I gotta ask, seeing as we're in a kink room, what kind of sucker are we talking about?
I follow in the path of the Lord. I share my body, and I share my blood.
Ain't this a little blasphemous for your kind?
To whom, my child? God is in everything, including you, sweet vampire. Can God blaspheme against himself? I merely wish to give comfort to those who live in darkness, and so I choose to live in darkness with them.
I mean, that's a very powerful statement that he's saying right there. And yet, Evil Intent, you do raise a good point that with enough time, supposedly technology and medical science would end many conditions, but some things can't be cured by medicine. Some things can only be cured. I mean, the whole theme of this game is by looking at yourself and improving yourself. But yeah, this guy is not Matthew Mercer is very interesting. I'm liking this character, even though he's probably only going to be here once.
Come, my son. I shall give succor to you.
Well, all right. Maybe if you stop calling it that.
And not. Okay, yeah, we got the ASMR treatment on that one.
Thou shalt not want, my son. Are you comforted?
Yeah, I guess I am.
I know those of my faith have hunted your kind. Perhaps we fear our own sin, so we seek the sins of others.
Yeah, it's true. Mercer probably costs a lot, but the fact they have Mercer at all is an amazing thing to me.
I seek only the Lord in everything, as do we all, whether we know it or not.
You ain't wrong, I suppose. Hey, a little awkward, but what's your name, fella?
I am Kieran.
Kieran.
It means little dark one. The night always did call to me.
Kieran.
Well, Kieran, I'm Sam, and I appreciate the blood. But I'm gonna turn in. A little sleepy now.
Go with God, my child of the night.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
It probably was either Mercer or Mulligan.
A fine evening
Maybe
to you,
both.
Samuel. Are you ready for tonight's session with Signora Teste?
All right, because Signora's up next, and then it's Edward or Edmund. I think it's Edmund.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're making some good progress.
That is wonderful. Remember, though, that the road to inner peace is not a straight line.
True enough. I like to say I didn't make my path. Nature did.
Samuel, you have the makings of a poet.
Well, I mean, he reads every night in his coffin, so yeah.
Oh, I meant it more literally. When I was walking in the woods, I just walked where the land led me.
But you see, this is a wonderful metaphor. If there is a valley between two mountains, that is the path nature takes us on. We often choose to climb the mountain instead when the easier path is made for us. Your experience guides your intuition more than you might expect, my friend.
Guess it's that peasant wisdom the Signora mentions.
Be careful with the labeling, my friend.
I didn't mean it in a bad way. I ain't ashamed of being a peasant. I'm just folks, as we like to say.
I can see why the Signora has become quite fond of you. Are you prepared for your session with her?
Yeah, I think with our progress, there might be some other distortions to focus on. Let me think.
All right, so we got to remember what the good Signora was here. So I think we should take should statements again. Yeah, she's definitely a Nos thinking. So let's take Nos thinking for sure. Let's take the should statements. Oh, do we take... What do we take here? Because if I remember what she is all about, she's not really the always right. And she's not really about blaming. I think mind reading's a good one. Yeah, let's take mind reading because we haven't really done anything with it yet. And then let's try personalization. You know, if I remember her correctly, she does a lot of personalization. Because if I remember correctly, see, I thought about disqualifying the positive, but the question is, do we take disqualifying the positive over personalization? Gray matter. Your son acts like a dog, getting a 3-year-old to understand it's not okay to lick people. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I do not relish, or I do not, God, what am I trying to say here? I'm glad it's not me in that situation. I'm glad it's not me, because I don't know what I'd do in that situation. You know what? I'm going to take personalization over disqualifying the positive, because I want to see personalization a little bit more.
All right, locked and loaded.
The people of your country have so many colorful phrases having to do with firearms. I do not understand the obsession.
I can't explain it neither.
I shall leave you alone with the Signora, Samuel.
Howdy, Signora. Good to see you tonight.
You are looking forward to seeing me?
Yeah.
Well, sure I was. You're an interesting person, Signora. It's a privilege to get to know you.
I suppose you have learned something of manners yourself. I thought a lot about the things we talked about last time, you know.
Oh, yeah? What about exactly?
About how foolish I was for wasting my time for so long fighting against reality.
Oh. Oh. We already have... Is this going to be another control fallacy? Hold on. I always get control fallacy and Nos thinking confused. So let me just remind myself. Okay, cognitive distortions. See, I think it's a control fallacy because she's feeling completely hopeless. Let's try control fallacy, and then if it's not control fallacy, we'll try Nos thinking.
Now hold on, Senora. Maybe you were fighting reality some, but that doesn't mean you were wasting your time. That fighting with reality is just part of what makes you human. It's your experience, your journey that you're learning from.
But if the aim was to control my family, I failed to achieve that aim.
Yeah, but that's real all-or-nothing aim, Senora. It's easy to fail when the conditions for winning are so narrow, right?
Yes. You are, of course, correct. Would that I had listened to the simpletons in my life earlier.
Well, I'm glad you've been doing some thinking. You were putting so much pressure on yourself to be the one keeping your family going. I can tell how much it was weighing on you.
I spent so long trying to fix them, trying to transform them into something that they were not. May I talk to you about my ex-husband, Sam?
I mean, I think that's where a lot of your trauma stems from, so yes, please.
Of course you can. I know he gave you a lot of grief.
He hurt me deeply, in so very many ways. He was the start of all my delusions because I thought I could fix him. I thought Frankie was the way he was because I was not an ideal wife. That perhaps he would have been faithful if I had been as beautiful or fertile as a Medici.
So that actually is personalization, I believe. Let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure that's personalization. Personalization. We often assume things happen because of us. Heck, often they do. That's why we get tempted by personalization, wrongly linking external events to ourselves. Yeah, this has gotta be personalization.
But you know that who your husband was didn't have nothing to do with you, right? Everyone comes into a relationship with their own problems.
And that is actually something that bears repeating, that everybody comes into a relationship, whether it's friendship, actually something intimate. Everybody's got problems. Like, nobody comes in with, 100% goodness. Like, everybody has their own problems. It's how you deal with your problems and how you maybe help each other deal with your problems that decides how a relationship will work.
Yes, I believe I understand that now. But if I had been more like that Borgia woman, he would have been more content.
Oh, if I had been more like that Borgia woman, he would have been more content. Is that control fallacy? Oh, God. I feel like this is a control fallacy. I don't think it should. Like, the should statement... Let's consult our notes here. Okay. That's should statement. Let me check Nos thinking. Black and white, do or die. See, for me, I think it's control fallacy because you're feeling responsibility or sole control or feeling completely helpless. You know what? I'm going to go with my gut on this one. I am going to try control fallacy, then we'll just go down the line.
If Isabella knew the mind of her husband so well, would she have had so many problems with him?
Oh, so if I understand what Andy's hint is, this is mind reading.
Yes, I believe I understand that now. But if I had been more like that Borgia woman, he would have been more content.
So this is mind reading then, Isabella.
That's not something you can know, Senora. You can never be in Frankie's mind.
Oh, and we actually just got an achievement. Distortionception. Found a distortion within a distortion. So that was interesting. So we started off with personalization, and I correctly chose mind reading, so we got the achievement. Nice. That's probably something you can get much earlier, depending on your choices, but it's cool that we got that all the same.
Oh, thank goodness. My thoughts would be so full of vaginas there would be no room for anything else.
Okay, hold on. I'm just processing the fact that you just said that, Senora. Okay. That is a thing. That is a statement. Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, Senora. Your husband's issues didn't have anything to do with you. He was gonna bring him into the relationship regardless.
You are right. Who he was not my fault.
And that is very important to recognize.
I know I have been arguing with reality, as you have said, but the idea of a fruitful marriage, sanctified by God, this was the only reality I had. But that reality did not match with mine. God could not have blessed both our marriage and riddled Frankie's penis with French diseases.
Senora, please, you have to. You're focused on very, very strange things, Senora. And why do they have to be French diseases? Why are we throwing shade on the French? What's wrong with the French? Oh, Lord.
French diseases?
Oh, good. Sam's gonna ask about it.
We used to call syphilis the mal France.
Diseases don't belong to any nationality. You sound like a certain politician from back home.
Because it's France. Just randomly shitting on the entire French people. Why not? It's the same for most of Europe. All right, fair enough.
Do not insult me. Have I not suffered enough with my husband's disgusting malady? It was a painful lie to live. I could only conclude from my sorrow that God was testing me. Endlessly.
That sounds like personalization again. Yeah, let's try personalization again. No,
The senora
okay.
was seeking a justification for her feelings, and I believe she found one.
Hold on.
It was a painful lie to live. I could only conclude from my sorrow that God was testing me. Endlessly.
So it's not mind reading. It's not should. Is this Nos thinking? Let's try Nos thinking and then control fallacy. It's not
The
Nos
senora
thinking.
was seeking a justification for her.
It was a painful...
I
Yeah,
want
it's
to
a control
challenge you on
fallacy.
something there. That sounds like a kind of hopeless statement. Like you're doomed to keep being tested on God's terms.
Perhaps it was hopeless. As you said, Isabella d'Este and Francesco Gonzaga could not change their natures.
That's true, but here's the thing. Does that mean you were doomed, or were you just doomed on God's terms? I think this just needs a little reframing. I know you were dealt a rough hand, but it doesn't necessarily mean you were being tested. Sometimes we just gotta make do with the hand we got. What I'm suggesting is that then and now, a radical acceptance approach could have helped you.
A radical acceptance approach. Interesting.
What do you mean?
You could have been polyamorous. You could have had a secret arrangement. You could have become a nun. I'm gonna save. Gonna save. So, these are all pretty funny, but I am going to actually start with Polly just to see what happens. We'll have none of that. You know what? We're going to click on none first because it's probably the funny option.
You could have become a nun, right? That would have been a way out of your situation.
Sam, you know me better than most at this point. Could I have been a nun?
Well, I guess you could have been the queen of the nuns.
The queen of the nuns.
That was not an available position.
How do you know? Do you do not know if there's a queen of the nuns? Maybe that's a thing now.
Well, maybe it wouldn't have worked out then.
Yeah, let's try Polly now.
How about being polyamorous? That way you'd still have each other at home, but you could have gotten different needs satisfied by different people.
Please. It was the 1490s. Such things were not acceptable unless you were a pop singer like Bartolomeo Tromboncino.
That is a name. And yeah, Caspian, like, there is a head nun. And I think you're right in that they're called the High Mother, but yeah, I don't think there's a queen. I think they're just the head nun.
Oh yeah, Bartolomeo Tromboncino. Can't forget him.
Tromboncino, yeah, that's gonna go over well with the Signora.
Do not be impertinent. He was a Frotolo star. Every man and woman dreamed of sleeping with him, including myself.
Okay, Isabella, you can't just sneak that in there. You can't just drop something like that and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to fuck him. Like, you can't just drop that.
Huh. I figure Fratello would have been illegal. All that rubbing in public.
No, Sam, not that kind of... Sam, no. No, Sam, no. No. That's not what... No.
Porca miseria. A Frotolo is like a madrigal. He was a madrigal singer. You are thinking of frottage.
Oh yeah, sorry. Guess them mortals downstairs got to me.
Okay, Sam, blame the mortals. Why not? Surely this is not your thinking, but okay. All right.
You could have had some sort of secret arrangement. That was pretty common back then, right?
Oh, we did have a secret arrangement. The arrangement was that he kept secrets from me and I pretended not to know about them.
Had you ever considered talking about it?
I could not. You do not know what it was like back then. A woman, even one such as I, was always subject to her husband. I did not have a say in his affairs. I had to play the part of the good wife and mother. You must understand, I only earned my significant power by playing the societal game.
But he knew you were aware of his indiscretions, didn't he?
I mean, he had to be.
It was hard to deny when he approached me with that rotten thing between his legs.
She's a... What's the word I want to use here? She's a little obsessed with her husband's wiener. Just a little obsessed.
So why not bring the issue out in the open?
He would have become angry, I am sure. Perhaps he would have beaten me and taken away the privileges I had worked so hard to earn.
That sounds like mind reading.
You know that for a fact? You couldn't read his mind or tell the future, only make guesses.
I mean, you're not wrong, Bean. It was the root of the problems, but at the same time, she keeps bringing it up. It's like, I want to point it out as Sam, but Sam isn't cluing into this fact yet.
If he knew that you knew about all of it, even accepted it, maybe you could have had a real conversation about the ways you could both live more honestly.
Oh, Sam, you are so naive. You are very sweet, but men are dogs. They understand only food and sex, and they do not care about the providence of either.
Well, I mean, okay, you just called me a dog, but I think this is Nas thinking.
I know we fellas don't have the best track record in human history, Senora, but if you label us as dogs, you're giving up on us. We've got our occasional good qualities. Maybe we'll act like dogs, whining and snapping when we get scared, but challenging us is important.
Oh, it is exhausting, Sam.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. Point is, Frankie was no fool, right? He could be reasoned with.
Well, he was wise enough to let me control Mantua. And he had his clever moments.
See, mind reading was a good way to read a lot of stupid in his head, and he wasn't all dumb.
Perhaps it is pointless to tread over the past again and again. What has happened has happened.
And for Isabella, that's the key statement, and this is where things are going to start changing for her, because that's what she needed to realize.
It has been nearly 5 centuries. I should not let the past haunt me so.
Well, that's easy. Should statement.
It's a hard thing, Senora. But no matter how old we get, the stuff that happened to us when we were alive is the stuff that makes us who we are. To think you should get over it ain't being fair to yourself, and it's a challenge you created. Nobody expects you to get over your past. Heck, anyone who would have thought that's long dead now.
There is truth in what you speak. My father and mother, my husband, the Pope, even the Holy Roman Emperor. They are all very long gone. If I am true, Sam, I am still very angry about all the lies I was told. I may be harboring some resentment.
Some resentment? That's a lot of resentment.
You don't say.
You will understand when I tell you of Frankie's greatest cruelty.
Okay.
I will tell you that the man, for all his fighting spirit, had very weak sperm, for he could not sprout a male seed in my womb.
Okay, I wouldn't have said it that way. I would have said we weren't able to conceive a boy. But that is one way you could put it, Senora. Okay.
My first child was a girl. I could not have been more embarrassed. Or so I thought, until I had my second child, who was also a girl. I will tell you, Sam, I was a young woman in mourning. I did not emerge from my chambers for weeks. The next time, finally, I had a boy, my beautiful Federico. He was such a charming child. He would entertain me so with his clownish behavior. May I show you a picture, Sam?
I'm kind of scared, but sure, Isabella, what you got for us?
Well, sure, let's take a look.
Look at him. Isn't he beautiful? He could have been a movie star or a model today, don't you think?
That is indeed a picture.
Admit it, he is the most handsome boy who ever walked this cursed earth.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with this, Sam. I'm right there with you.
Why am I asking you? What do you know of beauty? Anyway, I gave all of myself to him. All my guidance, all my wisdom, and all of my love.
And I'm sure his older sisters appreciated that.
Everyone said, "You are doting on him. Give him some air." How dare they tell me my business? I am Isabella d'Este. I know what is right.
So what is wrong with girls? Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the prediction. Hold on. Let me tie up the prediction real quick, because we did not actually end up pulling a gun on Dr. Drayne. So let me complete that prediction. But yeah. This is definitely control fallacy. You don't know what is right here. But no, where I was going to go with that, Dust Carter, is, at least from my understanding, is that in Europe, especially in Europe, you had to produce an heir to the family, because as Caspian just said, usually women could not inherit property, they could not inherit an estate, the whole 9 yards. So the fact that she didn't produce a proper heir until her third child, that would have been, as she said, very embarrassing for her. But, again, you have to remember that in America, we didn't really carry that mindset over. Again, this is my understanding of history. I might be wrong. But, things have dramatically gotten better in both from Isabella's time and even in Sam's time, where a lot of the inheritance, a lot of the social stigma and the laws, things have gotten a lot better for women in this regard.
Oh, Samuel, if more parents admitted their fallibility, perhaps the world would be a more understanding place.
So this is not a control fallacy.
Everyone said, "You are doting on him. Give him some air." How dare they tell me my business? I am Isabella d'Este. I know what is right.
Is this Nas thinking then? Black or white? We'll try it.
Senora, I'm sure you knew what was best for your son, but ain't it possible that those people might have been able to help you? It's lonely work when you feel like you can't listen to anyone else.
Are you telling me how I should have raised my son?
I don't think we are, but you're going to interpret it that way.
I got a better sense of self-preservation than that, Senora. But you gotta admit, this Nosferatu thinking of being always right is pretty exhausting, ain't it?
Oh, that is true. And as it turned out, pointless. It did not matter in the end. Frankie, in his supreme foolishness, managed to get himself captured by the French.
And let me guess, he caught a French disease. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
He ransomed himself out of prison with something more precious than all the gold in Venezia, more valuable than the Pope's seat.
I mean, I have a thought of where this is going to go. If this is a joke about his virginity, I am going to lose it. I'm just going to lose it.
He sold my son, my beautiful Federico.
Oh.
Dang. That must have been devastating, Senora. I can't imagine how painful that must have been.
No, you cannot. For you will never be a mother to a son so beautiful, so intelligent, and so pure.
Yeah, to make the son the hostage in his place. I thought that was going to go a completely different route, but okay, that's kind of dark.
But that was not the end of my pain. It was not enough to take my son away. Not content to merely break me, the French, as always, needed to corrupt.
Again, just shade on the French.
They sent my sweet Federico to a den of filth, a place where chastity went to die, straight to the crossroads of Sodom and Gomorrah.
If you make a joke about butts...
They sent him to the Vatican.
Oh, yeah, oof to the church. Good lord, just wasn't enough to throw shade on the French. We have to throw shade on the whole Vatican. Just damn.
The Vatican? Seems like that'd be a pretty boring place for a boy to spend time.
This was Rodrigo Borgia's Vatican. It was a city of prostitutes and perverts, and he was their mayor. My poor Federico. He was a boy of a certain age. I could not have prepared him for the temptations he encountered.
I don't think he would have listened to you, even if you had told him.
When he finally returned to me, he was no longer Isabella d'Este's child. He was the child of Francesco Gonzaga, an experienced whoremonger in his own right.
I think that's Nos thinking. Yeah, let's try Nos thinking.
Hold on a sec. No longer your child? You can't think that's true. You raised that boy, and there's no way he could forget you. Maybe he got up to shenanigans out there in the Vatican, but you're only hurting yourself by erasing your influence on him. Now be honest. Did he lose everything you taught him?
No. He still had an appreciation of art, for which he had some taste. And he had some political acumen, I suppose.
I'm not saying you should forget what happened to your son. That would be pretty unrealistic. But give yourself some credit for the influence you had, huh?
You are kind, Sam. Thank you. But it is hard to forget the child who returned to me. I am a man now, mother, he would say. I do not have to listen to you.
Ah, so she experienced empty nest syndrome. Mm-hmm.
And indeed, he did not. Which is why he died of syphilis, just like his depraved father. He did not even have the courtesy to wait until I was dead. Now do you understand why I prefer the illusion of truth and beauty I try to bring to art?
A little bit, but okay.
My mother told me when my marriage was young, Isabella, you must pretend that all is as it should be. The truth is dark, but you must maintain your own.
I hate to say it, Senora, but I think your mama was spouting a few should statements of her own. Keeping up that illusion must have been draining.
Yeah, she lost herself in the illusion. Exactly, Bean.
That is why I tried to create my own illusions. If I depicted love and chastity in their ideal form, I could make that illusion come true.
Control fallacy.
Well, Senora, if anyone were strong enough to change the world's morality, it might be you. But I think you know the truth is that you don't have that kind of control. No one does.
Then why am I here, Sam? Why are any of us here? Are we here to eat, sleep, fornicate, and die?
I know a few folk who might say that's why we're here. It's one of them existential questions, ain't it?
I mean, why are we here? I mean, is there like a god? Is there like a plan for us? I don't remember the rest of the red versus blue quote, but you know, it's one of the things where, again, if you don't remember, the whole reason Signora came here in the first place is she saw Rise of Skywalker, and this is what kicked her into this existential crisis that she's having. So we're finally once again addressing this existential problem.
Here's my take, Signora. I think you're here to be you.
Yeah, Bean, if you didn't know it, it's like it's either part 1 or part 2, where we are revealed that the Signora saw Rise of Skywalker and legitimately had a crisis of faith.
I certainly hope you have something more intelligent to contribute than that.
I don't really. Here's the thing, Signora. None of us is going to change the world overnight, or even in a millennium of nights. But our being here, being ourselves, swings the pendulum in a whole bunch of unknowable ways.
That is a dark interpretation of reality. Are we truly so powerless?
Is it Nas thinking or control? Because the powerless tells me control. But it could also be the extreme. Well, we're going to try both. I'm going to start with Nos thinking and then control. No, it was
sees
control.
imperfection as helplessness.
Yep, it was control.
That is a...
What I'm saying, Signora, is not that we're powerless. I'm just saying we ain't gonna change the world on our own. Not everyone's gonna buy what we're selling, but some people are gonna get it. People are still out there talking about the art you brought to the world. Maybe fellas like me don't know who you are. I bet that nasty Pope from your time wasn't your biggest fan. But you can't help but be an influence on people. Just not all people. Ain't that so?
I do not know if that is enough for me, Sam.
Well, what is enough then, Isabella?
Well, here's what I think we should do, Signora. All them efforts of yours are always facing outward. How about we spend some time on you?
What do you mean?
I mean, let's work on the things Isabella D'Este likes. Forget about the rest of the world. What are you putting in your art that's for you and not for anyone else? Is it a little embarrassing?
Hush. If you must know, it is centaurs. I like centaurs.
Chat, have you ever been talking to someone and they just are like, hey, so you know horses? Centaurs. I like centaurs. Just drop that in conversation. Just drop it in. Okay. I was expecting none of this. All right. So she's a horse girl. Mm-hmm. That is, yeah, that's the thing. Are you gonna tell us why you like them? Am I gonna have to hide the screen? Like, please don't go the route I think you're going.
Hey, I ain't gonna judge. Sometimes I like horses better than people too.
Yes, well, they are pleasing to look at.
Now, how about this then? Why don't you pick up a brush and paint yourself up a centaur?
I have not attempted to paint for centuries.
Even more reason to do it, Isabella.
This is just for you, Signora. No expectations. How's that sound?
I cannot believe I revealed this thing to you.
I'm glad you did. I'm a lucky fella. I get to know an Isabella D'Este no one else knows.
And no one else will know, or I will make you suffer. Capiche?
Capiche.
You got a deal, Signora. I'm here to be supportive, that's all. I hope that when you come back next month, we'll be having a nice conversation about you finding your muse.
Yes, perhaps. Very well, Sam. I do not understand your ways, but I cannot deny you have a certain untamed wisdom. I shall attempt to paint a centaur. This is not what I expected from therapy, but I shall do as you suggest. I shall see you in 4 weeks then. Arrivederci, Sam.
See you later, Isabella.
Oh, yeah. See you soon, Senora. Arrivederci.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
Goodbye.
Well, well, Samuel, you never cease to impress. Centaurs.
Andy, shut up. Shut up. If she knows we squealed, shut up, Andy. Shut up.
I don't think you're supposed to know about that, boss.
I am 3,000 years old, my friend. Horse people are somewhere at the very tip of my kinky iceberg. It is already forgotten.
Andy, you can't just say something like, Andy, no. No. Andy.
Well, the Senora's pretty embarrassed about it, so I'd appreciate it if you kept it to yourself.
Senora Deste is wise to put her faith in you, Samuel. I will gently remind you that relationships between therapists and clients are highly discouraged.
I wasn't hitting on her. I was just being nice.
Oh, come on, Andy. It ain't like that. Senora Deste is just... You're messing with me.
Of course I am. Unless...
All right, you know what? I'm going downstairs. I could use a drink.
Well earned, Samuel. Please, rest in peace.
I liked that session. I liked where that went. Centaurs. Okay.
Poor Senora. That lady's holding on to a lot of anger. Reminds me of myself as a young vampire. Pretty hot in here tonight. I think I'll get some air. Maybe I can get to know Bert a little better.
Oh, so Mercer's also Bert. So we're gonna get to know the bouncer.
Hey, Bert. How's the crowd tonight? Same old, huh? So,
Talk about the weather. Talk about sports. Yeah, let's talk about the city. Why not?
what do you think of Leipzig, Bert? Real fascinating architecture here.
Now he's bored.
Hey, not everyone's into architecture, I get it. So what do you do for fun here? More of a homebody, I guess. Yeah, I'm a little introverted too. Spent 90 years walking in the woods, you know. Yeah, there's nothing I like better in nature. The trees, the plants, the animals. The cities just seem so dead at night.
Good, we're putting Bert to sleep.
I can tell I'm interrupting. Well, nice talking to you anyway, Bert. I'm gonna head inside.
Have fun, mate.
Hey, Crimson, how's the crowd?
I wonder if there was something there we missed, but I feel like Bert would have just been bored the entire time.
Hey, cowboy. Bit busy tonight, but how'd your session go?
Went pretty well.
Now, I think this lady's starting to realize what she can't control, which is a lot. She's still mad as hell about it, but I think we're getting closer to acceptance.
I know how she feels, cowboy. I feel like I wasted years of my life in D.C. trying to make the world a better place. But it sounds like you are making progress to me. She's got time to make her peace. That's what Andy says about you vampires.
Yep, that's true. We can take 40 years or 400, but that's up to us.
In the meantime, I'll whip something up for a hot summer night.
So this is a margarita based on the salt and the lime. It's a blood margarita?
What's this now?
Blood margarita. Figured a hot-blooded desperado like you could use something cold.
I mean, I was just joking, but I was right on the money. Wow.
Oh, mighty kind of you, Crimson. I'll let you get back to work and take this up to my coffin for a quiet night.
Night, Sam.
Now, let's see. What'll help me reflect on the night? I think there's something Omar Khayyam once wrote that I can look up. Or I could watch Buster Keaton almost get himself killed a bunch.
Well, I think as a trend, we're once again going to read poetry.
One of my transcendentalist friends told me about this one. I ain't too good with poetry, but this piece always stuck with me. The moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on. Nor all thy piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all thy tears wash a word out of it.
Benno, welcome in, Benno. Buster Keaton denied. Oh, Benno, I don't know if you're just dropping in or not, but you have missed, if you haven't been here the entire time, you have been missing some of the most amazing lines out there. Just stick around, Benno. If you can, stick around. I want to see your reaction to the theater kid coming up.
Funny how people in far-off places and times always had some similar perspectives. Omar's right. You can't change the past. Life moves forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's enough for one night. Better get me some shut-eye. Got the feeling my work's gonna get harder before it gets easier.
But no, Benno, while you're here, at some point we got to do more Power Wash Sim. I've been itching to get back to that.
My dear Samuel, greetings. How are you feeling tonight?
Feeling pretty good, Andy. Is it time for Edmund?
Honestly, I'm feeling a little like a horse who's about to be ridden by a big old fella.
Phrasing. Sam, phrasing. Phrasing.
I am not certain I comprehend your meaning. Have you met a special someone, my friend?
What? No, it ain't that. I mean, I'm feeling a little on edge. Edmund's coming in.
Aha, our actor friend. What about him has you nervous, Sam?
I mean, the fact that we told him to act for himself, and we don't think he ended up taking our advice to heart.
He's just a lot to deal with. I find myself a little drained after our sessions.
Again, phrasing.
Ah, yes. Challenging the reality distortion fields of those with narcissistic tendencies is taxing.
I know, but if I'm here doing this therapist thing, I should help him one way or another.
Ah, remember your own distortions. You are under no obligation to help Edmund. If helping him drains you, remember that you do not have to aid him.
Yeah, you're right. I still want to try, though. I want to see if I can help him.
And that's
I
a good
shall not
mindset to
stand in
have.
your way, then.
Wait a second, hold on, there was more to that. I was talking, I didn't hear him. Hold on.
I shall not stand in your way then. Have you an idea of what distortions he might be exhibiting tonight?
Oh, so I guess that was just an extra voice line they added.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Alright, well, we know personalization is everything that Keen is about. Let's take always right. Let's take disqualifying the positive. Then let's do a should statement. And then yeah, so Benno, what this is, and this is kind of how they keep the playthrough fresh, is that the distortions are basically the things that you're going to point out that are ways of thinking that are not conducive to being a good person, or things that are otherwise affecting your judgment, affecting the way you're thinking. So for example, let me actually click here. We're going to take emotional reasoning.
I think that should cover it.
All right, so for example, Benno, let me pull up the book here, if the book will cooperate with me. So for example, the cognitive distortions are, yeah, they're vampires. And yeah, they might be vampires, but as we've learned, they are definitely in need of psychotherapy. So let me just use an example here. You'll understand very quickly, Benno, once we start the therapy session. But for example, let me see, what do we take? Let's use a should statement, for example. So a should statement distortion is when you are making arbitrary rules on how things should be and putting a lot of pressure on yourself because you're making it a pressure that you are putting on yourself. And every single one of these distortions is something that the person could exhibit. So it's a teaching game. You're learning about ways of thinking. You're learning about, the different ways that we are able to take in the world around us and how we look at ourselves. It'll make more sense once you see Edmund and we see it in motion.
I wish you peace and patience, Samuel. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, through vampires, Benno. It's a thing. It is definitely a thing.
Thanks, Andy. Edmund, amigo, how's it hanging?
Now, Benno, if I had to typecast you as one of our patients, I would make you read Edmund's lines, because you'll see.
To the left and most proudly, my dear boy.
We literally asked him how he's hanging, and he goes for an immediate dick joke. Okay. All right, Edmund, I did not need to know that.
Indeed, tonight I sit before you victorious. Thy gentle prodding hath guided me back to the womb of creation.
Do I want you to spell that out for me?
The stage, good sir, the stage. For if all the world's a stage, then the stage is where humanity is born.
Yeah, I guess that must be true. So what are you saying? You nabbed some kind of juicy roll?
If he says that he's streaming...
Not just any role. Nay, I have been given the opportunity to once again subvert the audience's expectations.
Fourth wall break incoming?
Though it was thy tender words that cleared the mists of doubt from my mind and reminded me that I belong to the stage, not to the audience.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Eddie. Tell me all about it. What's been going on?
Do you remember the advice you gave me when last we met?
Yeah, I told you to act for yourself.
I told you to film yourself doing some acting, right? How'd that go?
I did as you suggested. I set up a camera, and for no one but myself, I became the Drayne.
Marmaduke?
No, not the... Sam, no.
Hamlet, my dear boy, Hamlet. I watched the great Edmund Kean inhabit the bard's greatest role once again, and in him I saw humanity pure, naked, and true. It was akin to pornography, albeit far more revealing. That Edmund Kean, I told myself, he and only he could produce something so beautiful.
Well, that is a sentence. But Benno, if you're still here, this is what I mean. So what the game is teaching you is that something in this sentence is one of the distortions we picked out. And it's kind of like Phoenix Wright, where there is a right answer. But unlike Phoenix Wright, you are not penalized for picking the wrong thing. So for example, let's just kind of go through here. So this could be one of a few things. This could be something like personalization, where, you know, this is his narcissism speaking, so it could be personalizations. However, if you think about it, it could also be always right, where he is once again always right. He is only, you know, he can only produce something so beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click always right, and if it's right, you'll see what happens. If we're wrong, you'll see how the game redirects.
Edmund's belief that he is the center of the world is persistent, isn't it, Samuel?
Yeah. So what happens is, unlike Phoenix Wright, where it's like, oh, well, you failed the case, or, you know, you have too many strikes against you, kind of a thing. What they do is they bring in Andy, the I guess we would call him the master therapist, who we're apprenticing under, and, you know, he comes in and he gives us a hint. And there's no like HP system, which is very good for a teaching game like this.
It was akin to pornography, albeit far more revealing.
So no, Andy is not our sire. Andy is someone that we V-mailed with or emailed with, and we more or less came to him to learn more about being a therapist, more to learn about cognitive behavioral therapy. And Andy is a 3,000-year-old vampire, so he's way older than Sam. Sam is about 200, so the reason he's a cowboy... Yeah, I'm getting to that. The reason why Sam is a cowboy is because that's when he got turned, was back in the 1800s. And he is... Yeah, he's... Let me actually see if he's in his journal at all. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know if it's been here somewhere, but we can look. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be in here, but basically, every single one of our clients and every single one of the NPCs, except the NPCs in the club, they're all vampires. And it's interesting, Benno, because they're not playing like hardcore World of Darkness rules, but there definitely are some World of Darkness themes that would make this perfect for a special kind of like vampire game, which I love.
Wait just a minute there, Eddie. You're an incredible actor. Everyone agrees on that. But it's a big world out there, and everyone's got their own experiences.
Any hunters? We did just, before you came in, we did just feed on a metal priest. And I don't mean like a machine metal. I mean like literally the dude was wearing Kiss makeup and was a heavy metal performer. So we know that there are religious hunters, but I don't know if there's any werewolves. I don't know if there's any like true hunters in the context of the World of Darkness, but we'll find out eventually, I'm sure. Because there's definitely things like with Crimson and Andy. There's definitely mages, because we have mentioned magic and we have mentioned sorcery with Medi, who is the Dami Mommy vampire streamer, which we'll probably get to today. But I don't think we've seen any hint about werewolves quite yet.
We all got capacity to do incredible things. It's a combination of luck, perseverance, and being in the right place at the right time. You ain't a great actor because you're Edmund Keene. You're a great actor because of the things that made you Edmund Keene.
You toy with the fates and flirt with pedantry, my dear boy.
Do I, Edmund?
Oh, it is oft said that an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters and infinite time could produce all the works of Shakespeare, but such a thing is infinitely unlikely.
Is it though, Edmund?
If you will permit me to continue, to watch myself act without an audience was simply rapturous. I am not ashamed to admit that I did weep. I wept for the stage, that I deprived it of my greatness on account of my own misplaced dread.
Okay, Edmund, okay.
I have been a cream-faced loon, a devout coward, and most religious in it. Why should Edmund Keene fear any audience?
Well, I mean, you fear us. So what does that say about you, Edmund?
You spoke truly. Edmund Keene bared his chest to all the slings and arrows of an unappreciative audience and was somehow surprised when they hit their mark.
Yeah, so for Benno's sake mostly, and anybody who doesn't remember what Edmund was about, Edmund left the stage because he was very much letting the critics get to him. And he's come a little bit of a way. I mean, he's not making the same progress as, say, Isabella or Dr. Drayne, or I'm interested to see how Medi's developed, because Medi will come after Edmund, but Eddie is definitely a narcissist. Dr. Drayne, well, they spell it differently, Benno, but yes, Dr. Drayne is basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where when he drinks blood, he turns into Mr. Hyde, though they call him Lord Luridus in his... Like I said, this game, Benno, has the most amazing humor and the most interesting way of teaching you actually things about it. And, like, I picked this game up on a whim, and I have just been enjoying it so much that I'm happy to see that you're here to enjoy it with me. And that goes for everybody here. I'm glad that everybody is enjoying this playthrough so far.
The Edmund Keene that you see before you is armored in love of the craft that no arrow may penetrate, and so casts aside the cloak of cowardice. To think, I feared mortal directors. I feared the audition and the criticism that would come afterward. I feared the cast list, bereft of Edmund Keene. But to you I give thanks, for can a mortal director know my brilliance? Nay, they're all clay-brained guts and mouldy rogues. Their disrespect for the craft makes fools of them.
Okay. So, this is where we have to think about a distortion here, because this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So, it's not personalization, I think. I don't think it should. Yeah, so the two I'm really thinking is always right, because Edmund thinks, obviously, he knows everything. There's also disqualifying the positive, where he's not giving the proper respect or the proper knowledge to the directors. So let's try always right first, and if that's not right, we'll go for disqualifying the positive.
I believe Edmund's view of his critics may be a bit narrow.
Just a bit. Okay, so once again, we have learned that it's not always right. So let's try disqualifying the positive.
I think you're painting them directors with a broad brush, Eddie. I get that you've got more experience with acting than mortals, but all directors ain't the same. Hell, I'd even go so far as to say you could learn from some of them. They know they're gonna die, and that's perspective we vampires need sometimes.
Thou hast cut me to the quick, my friend. Perhaps some of what you say is true. However, I know in my damned soul that the stage is worse off without Edmund Keane, and nothing any mortal director can say will disabuse me of this. Ergo, I did ask myself, Edmund, what is an audition? Is it a trial to overcome? Is a director a god dispensing holy judgment?
I mean, you're gonna tell me yes.
And I replied, Edmund, do not ask such foolish questions, the answers to which thou knowest well. An audition, my dear boy, is not an opportunity, but an invitation to display the craft before another. So I told myself, why not act, dear boy? And so I did.
So you did an audition, all right, that's great. Did you have fun with it?
Well, we still haven't been told what role he ended up getting. And if I know this game's humor, it's either going to be a random commercial or it's going to be something like he's a minor character in Cats. Like, that's where I'm thinking they're going to go with this.
You speak so simply, my friend. Fun does not adequately describe the feeling one has when the muse takes over. It is transcendence, an affirmation of purpose, to condense humanity within oneself, if only for a moment. It is an orgasmic experience.
That is a sentence. That is a sentence. I think that's like the second or third time he said something like that in this session alone. Calm down, Edmund. Calm down.
That sounds intense, Eddie. Having an orgasm in front of someone else is pretty brave.
Sam, that's not what he... Sam, no. Sam, no. That's not what any... No. Oh.
Oh, but it is freeing. A true actor hides nothing.
Oh, God. You know, Beto, I hadn't even thought about that. What if he actually did get a role in pornography? Oh, no. Are they going to go that route? Oh, no. Hide nothing and come always, baby. Oh, my God. I mean, it would be on par for this game. Like, we make the joke, Beto. This game could very well go that route. It very well could. We have to know now. Big creamy blast. Again, this is why chat will always be more humorous than I will be. But, oh my God. Okay, we gotta know. Edmund, what is this role? You have to tell us.
The director, she told me she had never witnessed such a thing in all her years, few as they were.
A Midsummer Night's Cream? You know what? 10 points to Caspian. Someone give Caspian points. 10 points to Caspian. Well done. Well done indeed.
I am certain that she thought to herself, is this Dionysus reborn? Why have the fates graced mine eyes with such depth of the human spirit?
Edmund, what was the role?
This time, my friend, I did not have to wait for a cast list at all. You are looking at a leading man once more.
Hey, congratulations, Eddie. That's great. See, I knew you'd get your mojo back if you remembered what made you love the stage in the first place.
What is the role?
For this, I am eternally grateful, and indeed, I do have an eternity to be grateful. Now I can already hear the calls resounding through the theater. Keen, 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 give us Keen!
You may want to pick a different name.
Nonsense! They will say Edmund Keane has returned and be none the wiser as to the accuracy of their statement.
Yeah, I feel like that breaks the masquerade, though. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, Edmund. I think that maybe breaks it just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So what's the big roll, Eddie?
Okay, here we go. Here's the moment. What is the roll? What is the roll?
We get to the meat of it. Unto the very sinew at last. They say that every story is a circle, that we return whence we came. So it is with me. 'Twas tragedy that made me, tragedy that formed me, tragedy that raised me to glory, and tragedy that shall do so once more. I shall play the part of Piero. Piero, the clown who cried. Piero, the mask of the tragedy that is life.
Okay, so they played it straight. This is actually a role in an actual play. Okay. Subverting expectations. Okay.
I ain't familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I only know a little bit, Sam, but I have a feeling he's going to tell us.
I believe you are, though you know a far inferior version. The one made famous by that ludicrous creature, Grimaldi.
Nope.
Grimaldi who?
Splud, my dear boy. Do you know nothing of late 18th century English theatre?
No, I am a American cowboy vampire. I know nothing of 18th century English theater.
They must have skipped that subject in frontier school.
Grimaldi was the other influential actor in London. But whereas I drew out the soul and laid it bare on stage, Grimaldi, in comparison, was a clown, a jester, a funny man. Grimaldi was an artist, like myself. But where my canvas was the soul, his was the latrine.
Wow, so we're already telling people that he created art in a urinal. Okay. All right.
When I strode upon the stage, my audience saw all the acts of life play out, in all their woe and joy. Oh, but Joey Grimaldi, the great clown himself, could create bottom noises with his armpit.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yet whose name was on the lips of the adoring public? Not Keane's, no. Not the bard's emissary. Give us the farting clown, they cried. Give us Grimaldi.
I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves for a moment, Edmund. You can, you can do your acting thing, but a farting clown, Benno's on board. Yeah, Benno's wants more of the fart clown. I mean, farting is funny, and people remember the farting clown. They don't remember the actor giving a monologue. They remember that a clown made fart noises and it was funny. Now, how do we point that out to him is the question.
So you see, my dear boy, for me to play the tragic clown Piero, this is my opportunity to take what Grimaldi stole from me.
What did he steal?
Yeah, what did he steal?
He stole my audience.
Okay, so this is going to be a challenging one because we only have 4 words to go on here. So let us consult our handy-dandy notebook here. Let me see. Yeah, I'm thinking this could be emotional reasoning, but let's go through here and look. Here it is. Emotional reasoning is when we act like our feelings represent reality, but no matter how unhappy we are, feelings alone don't define the world. I asked Andy, ain't everything emotional reasoning? He said no, emotional reasoning specifically when we project our feelings onto the world. The world can feel like garbage when I feel like garbage, but that don't make it reality. Okay. So it's not 100% fit, but it could be. Let's look at always right. I think that's towards the end. Yeah, here we go. We all get things wrong sometimes, and we all know it, but in the heat of the moment, we might get so worked up we feel everything we say is correct. Yeah, it's one of those things, Benno, where some of these distortions could apply multiple times, and they do. But it's also something where there's always a correct answer, quote unquote. And it does not actually matter what distortions you choose. If something this game does very well is if something is relevant to any of the distortions you choose, you have the option. So even if we picked completely different distortions, we would still get chances to interject, just in different ways. So, yeah, we're going to start with emotional reasoning, and then we'll go to always right. And if it's not either of those... An argument for should. Huh. Yeah, let's try emotional reasoning, then we'll go always right, and then we'll try disqualifying the positive.
Was the audience really his, Samuel? They were not captives. Though who knows with Edmund, perhaps they were.
You know what, Andy? That is a very that's a good point.
He stole my audience.
All right, let's try always right.
Was
Okay,
the audience
not
really
always
his?
right. So then,
Stole my audience.
hold on. Let us take a look at personalization, because it could be personalization. Hold on. I'd ruled it out, but now that we know it's not, let me see. Often we assume things happen because of us. Heck, they often do. That's why we get tempted by personalization, wrongly linking external events to ourselves in cases where realistically there ain't no definite link. I don't think... Yeah, I was going to say, if from his performance so far, I do agree with you, Caspian. I would feel very awkward having to listen to him speak. Let me see. Let's try personalization, and then the only things we have left are disqualifying it should.
Eddie, from what you've told me,
There we go.
I don't think you and this Grimaldi fella had the same audience.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Edmund doesn't realize, is that what he performs and what Grimaldi does are two very different roles, and there's none like one that is superior to the other. It's just that there's a different audience for each kind of performance.
I don't think anyone showing up for a farting clown show and getting Edmund Keene is going to be too happy, and it'd have nothing to do with you.
But if Grimaldi had not peddled his base filth, my audience would not have waned when it did. They would have been mine.
Would they, though?
And if the sun didn't shine, we could go out during the day. Come on, Eddie, the world ain't waiting on you. Grimaldi had his audience and you had yours. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Perhaps, though I weep bitter tears to think the people so base, and I weep for myself, my dear boy. The riches and fame he received should have been mine, and would have been, had the fates not cursed me with his birth.
Well, that's a should statement.
His fame and riches should have been yours according to who, Eddie?
According to common sense.
Whose common sense?
Again you malign me with your beastly rhetorical traps. Can you not let a man vent his spleen without being so assailed?
No, because that's why you're here in therapy. Because we have to point out these distortions.
I ain't trying to give you a hard time, Eddie. I'm just asking you to question them shoulds of yours. Maybe you wouldn't need to vent that spleen so much. The point I'm trying to make is that making things about Grimaldi versus Keene ain't doing you any favors.
There is some truth in your words. Why should I lower myself to his level? I am no flatulent jester. I am Edmund Keene. And mark my words, my boy. I shall cast Joseph Grimaldi from the Thespian Order. When I play Piero the Clown, Wikipedia shall forget all about that fool.
So, let me get this straight. The reason you're doing this is because you don't want Wikipedia to know about Grimaldi. That you think that your performance is going to be so great that Wikipedia is going to go, oh, we don't need this page anymore, let's delete it. That's not how any of this works, Edmund. Edmund, that's not how any of this works.
You see, my dear boy, I have already calculated my triumphant return to the stage. Every move, every word, every expression shall be unassailable. You see, Edmund Keene is never wrong about matters of character.
Well, that is always right.
I'm glad to hear your confidence, Eddie, but I just want to give you a word or two of caution. Acting's all about humanity, not just Eddie Keene, right? If you don't give yourself a little room to bend, your audience might not see themselves in you.
Ha! Let them dream their filthy little dreams. If my body is that which draws them in before I spring the theatrical trap, I care not.
I didn't mean that. I just meant that you're drawing some hard boundaries acting-wise. Giving yourself some middle ground ain't a bad thing.
I know you play your part, therapist, as I must play mine. I have heard your cautions. They need not be repeated.
I mean, for you, they actually do need to be repeated.
Indeed, I doubt our meetings will be necessary any longer. I must confess to some strong misgivings about you, therapist. There are times when we speak that I feel exposed, diminutive, and weak, and I can only conclude from those feelings that you are trying to hurt me.
Emotional reasoning.
I gotta push you on that, Eddie. You said it yourself. You're jumping from a feeling to reality. I am here to challenge you, yeah. But your feeling exposed is part of the process. Doesn't mean I'm trying to hurt you.
But there is truth in emotion, my dear boy. Perhaps not the whole truth, but emotions are the seeds from which truth doth grow.
And yeah, Evil Intent, you're completely correct that if he would just loosen his boundaries and not be such an 18th century tightwad, he might be a better actor if he realized just how set in his ways that he is. Yeah, like, this is the point in therapy where Eddie's pushing back, feeling like he doesn't need it. But this is kind of like the quintessential moment where you either accept that therapy will work and you stick with it, or you drop therapy and continue doing what you're doing. And there's not a wrong or right answer there, but to give an example from my own experience with therapy, this is something where I have definitely been at a point with certain therapists where I'm like, I'm not getting anything from you. You're not really giving me tools. You're not really giving me anything to work with. So I don't think I need therapy anymore. And, I think how Edmund takes what we just said will be the key here.
Let me be straight with you. I ain't trying to hurt you, Eddie. I'm just trying to make sure you're moving forward with a clear head.
Then perhaps that is where we speak alien languages. As an actor, I must be led by feeling and intuition. I pity you, my dear boy, that such is beyond your grasp.
I got a heart, Eddie. I just try to know when it's lying to me.
Regardless, opening night is a month from now. I doubt you shall see me again, for I shall not need your services.
So what they're shadowing here is that the opening night is going to go very poorly, or there's going to be some critics, and Eddie's going to show up and he's going to be very, very mad.
The public thought they knew what a clown was. In a month's time, they will forget Grimaldi and Bozo, and only Keen's clown will remain. Therefore, why shall I need you? When I have the public's love that I am due, what need will I have for a therapist?
So, if we were trying to keep him so this is an interesting thing. So the answer of you'll need me as emotional support, that is something you don't want to say as a therapist, because that makes it seem like the person, like they don't have control over their emotions. They don't have a venting. Like, that is a very bad thing to say as a therapist. You'll need me to help you handle all that same kind of thing, where that is not something you want to say as a therapist. The correct answer here is, if you don't need me, you don't need me.
Hey, if you don't need me, I'm happy. There's lots of folks who can use my help.
I was hoping you would lament my loss more than that.
Of course I'd miss you, Eddie. You're as interesting a fella as they come. But if you don't need me, I've done my job pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, I must admit, your suggestion of filming myself was rather brilliant, and I do owe you my thanks. Do you have any final words of wisdom for me then, dear boy? Theatre has lost its popularity because of my absence. When the public takes notice of Edmund Keen once again, how might I prepare myself?
Well, that sounds like personalization.
I just want to remind you, Eddie, that even if you give the greatest performance of all time, people ain't waiting for you. Think about how you felt when you were acting for yourself and not for the audience. Your most important audience member is you, compadre.
Mm-hmm.
Ever the nemesis of mirth art thou, Sam Walls. But there is a little wisdom in what you speak. I shall remember Edmund Keen. I suppose, then, that this is goodbye, dear boy.
You sure you don't want me to keep your session slot open for next month?
There is no need. As you are so eager to help others, please do so, and worry not for Edmund Keen.
Tell you what, I'll keep it open just this once. I'll take the night off if you don't show up. Sound good?
Then I beg you enjoy a night of simple peace. You shall not see me.
Oh, we will.
I give you thanks. And please, send me a V-mail. I shall arrange theatre tickets for you if you are ever in London.
I'll do that, Eddie. You take care of yourself, you hear?
I shall be Edmund Keen's greatest advocate. Farewell, therapist. May fortune favor you as it has me.
Adios, Eddie.
Well, Samuel, it seems you are down one client.
Yeah, I guess so. If he thinks he doesn't need me, I guess I'm doing something right.
You are unsure.
I don't know, Andy. I think that fella's got some more work to do, but he ain't ready to do it yet.
I believe you are correct, Samuel. I did warn you that this was likely to happen with our dear Edmund Keen. Do not consider it a failure of yours. Remember that we are all on our own journeys, and some of us need a little extra time to reach the next stage of that journey.
Yeah, so it's definitely something where there's a lot he has to work on, but we can't force him to work on it. Like, all we can really do is... Yeah, it's one of the things we're just going to have to wait and see, kind of a thing. Also, give me one moment to answer a Discord message. Oh, that's actually a very elegant solution. Sounds like an elegant solution. Something I feel like wasn't touched on is the fact that people's tastes change. Theater isn't generally as popular today as it once was because of technological and societal evolution. You're not wrong. It's definitely something where Edmund Keen doesn't understand that most of the things that he wants to act for aren't like major roles, as you know, as much as I can put it that way. Like, he should be trying out for movies or for TV shows, you know, something he can act in that isn't just theater. But like I said, I have a feeling we're either gonna see him next month or he just won't show up. Again, this game could go either way.
Or in my case, a few thousand years. We cannot control the mind of any other.
Yeah, I suppose that's the way it's gotta be.
Go downstairs and have a drink to fate's whimsical turns. It is that which we cannot control that makes the world so rich and interesting.
All right, Andy, that sounds good right about now.
Go then, my friend. The night awaits. Rest in peace.
Oh, long load on this one. There we go.
Well, that was a weird one. I guess it always is with Edmund. Half the time I can't make heads or tails of what that feller's saying. I'll go check in with Crimson and see if she's got any of her wisdom to share. How we doing tonight, Crimson?
The drinks are flowing and the blood's pumping. Can't ask for more than that. How are you, Sam?
Well, I had my first client graduate. They quit therapy today.
Oh, he'll be back.
Congratulations, cowboy. Helped a vampire see the light, huh? How do you feel about it?
I feel pretty good, even though I know he's gonna be back.
I got no reason to hold on to my clients forever. If he feels he's ready to move on, then I'm happy for him. Fella's still got a hell of a lot to work on, but don't we all?
Ain't that the truth?
Well, even if not everyone loves what he's doing, at least he's doing what he loves.
Hey, I'd call that a win, cowboy. Not everyone gets to do what they love.
Sounds like you got some feelings about that.
All right, I'm gonna let you in on a big, dark secret. Maybe even darker than the fact that I drink blood.
Go on.
I'll hold it with high honor, Crimson.
I liked being a lawyer.
Gasp. Gasp, she liked being a lawyer. How scandalous. How scandalous. How dare she. How dare she. She was a lawyer. A wretch upon society. No, that kind of tracks from what we know about you, Crimson.
Oh, you're right. That is dark.
Oh, shut up. I was good, Sam. I fought the good fight, and I knew case law like the back of my hand. The law just moved too slowly for me in the end, and getting cancer made it seem meaningless. Now, I love this place, and I love Andy, but I know I wasn't born to bartend.
Couldn't you practice law in Germany?
You try learning German and tell me how it goes, Desperado.
Oh, come on, it ain't that hard. I've picked up some German already. Ich spreche Deutsch good.
No, you don't. Eddie, no. No, you do not.
Hold me, Maxie. The cowboy is being once again too cute. I believe I shall burst.
Hello, goth couple. Hello.
Cowboy, come with us and we will teach you how to speak sehr good Deutsch.
Yes.
I think I hear my dinner calling. I'll talk to you later, Crimson.
Be gentle with him, you two.
Now we will teach you the German that is most important for you to know.
All right, everybody get your notebooks. We are going to learn some very interesting German.
It is important to ask politely when you wish to drink from someone's neck. Tell them, your neck is beautiful. May I drink from it?
Ihr Hals ist wunderschön. Darf ich von Ihnen trinken?
Hold on. I'm going to deep-L this. Hold on. Because I wonder if this is going to be a situation where he's saying something completely differently. Let me pull up deep-L. Hold on. Alright. So... House... Okay, east. Actually, yeah. Actually, if, is... Yeah. That actually is what he's saying. Okay, so they're not doing a gotcha.
Now ask Reinhard if he will let you drink from his neck.
It is very important to get the declensions correct in German.
Oh god, these are all bad. Absolutely bad. We're gonna go with the third one.
Your Nicka is wunderschön. Dark ich drink?
That's not it at all, Sam.
Oh, meine Ohren.
You have made my boyfriend sad, cowboy. Now you must drink from his neck to make him feel better.
Okay, Maxie. No.
Oh, Maxie. Now I'm feeling very disoriented and euphoric. Oh, so I've done many club drugs.
I will take you home, Knutkugel. Now what do you say, cowboy?
Oh, Dankeschön.
Dankeschön, sexy. We must practice together so.
Yes, please do.
I must take this hot little man home now. Tschüss, tschüss.
Oh, yeah, see you later, you two. Well, it's about time for some shut-eye anyway.
Love it. Alright. And that, I believe that is where we will pull today to a close. And we will resume with Medi next time. But yeah, as per usual, this was a phenomenal playthrough. And I just, again, there's so many good ways that this game produces information, makes the characters feel unique. Again, I'm interested to see how things come in for a close, but we are rapidly approaching the end. Because as I said, I believe that the magic number of meetings is 4 for each vampire. But we will see what that entails next time. So YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Drop a comment below what you thought of the vampires we saw today, and what your favorite sentence was, if YouTube will let you put it, what your favorite sentence was. But thank you for tuning in, YouTube. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.